So here's the real question. How do dentists like you, who aren't willing to let insurance dictate how you will run your practice, who want to create incredibly profitable practices without sacrificing your time or sanity, how do you create the strategies to ensure your practice not only survives but thrives in the 21st century? That's the blaring question, and Dr. Steve Schlintz is here to provide the answers. Welcome to Dental Practice Freedom Radio.
What is up, everybody? This is Dr. Steve Schlintz, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Dental Practice Freedom Radio. I am really excited to share this with you today. As you guys know, I have a book club on Facebook, and it was actually really interesting. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, hey, throw me like your handles. Like, what are you working on? And I made them all on a list. And I was on Dr. Tao's podcast the other day, the Braving Patients podcast, which was phenomenal. If you guys don't know Leonard Tao, you should definitely check him out. Check out his podcast. He is the bird eye guy, but it's more than that. He's really big into marketing. He's really big into how do you sell in your practice. And we had a great discussion about the new patient process. And so when that episode goes live, I'm going to let you guys know about it. But it was a phenomenal interview. And one of the things we were going through the bio that I had, and honestly, I joked with him. I said, you know, when I got done with it, it literally is like me saying, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. And so I do have a dentist on Facebook book club that I had started, and I'm still working on, and I still enjoy doing it. We discuss about a book quarter now. It used to be a book a month. Got to be a little bit much for the dentists that were in the group. So we're doing a book a quarter. We're talking about Think and Grow Rich. And so you guys that know me know that I love books. I love digging into this stuff. And it's have a profound impact on my life, especially that book, Think and Grow Rich. But one of the people that I've been studying recently, and he's a very polarizing guy, but I love some of the stuff that he talked about, which is Grant Cardone. And he's a sales guru, right? And if you guys have listened to my podcast at all, I don't poo-poo the word sales. I don't think it's a bad thing in dentistry. I think that if you are technically gifted, technically skilled, have done technical training, you feel that it can impact your patients, you have a moral obligation to be able to communicate that in a way with your patients to help them move forward with necessary treatment. So that to me is a sales process. And so as I was digging into Grant Cardone's stuff, one of the books that he has is called the Millionaire Booklet. It's a tiny little booklet. And I was really thinking about this because this last year has been a lot of fun. It's been amazing in terms of things that I've been able to do and where things are going. But to say that it was completely peachy keen, is that even a word? I haven't used that since I was like 10. To say that it's been all roses for me, it would be a complete lie. And I've learned a lot about my practice. I've learned a lot about maintaining businesses, managing businesses, growing businesses without killing the company in the process. I've learned a lot of things this last year. And as I was going through his book, I thought this Millionaire Booklet, I'm like, that is what I missed. And if I could tell somebody this, and I'm going to tell you this now, this will really help you. And this is geared more for dentists that are looking to do something outside of dentistry, or maybe they're looking to generate additional income sources. These are very important things. This is something that I tell every dentist I work with. Listen, if you are only reliant on your dental income as your main source of income for the rest of your life, chances are you'll be okay. But heaven forbid, what happens if you get on disability? And you might have disability insurance, but what if you can't do dentistry anymore? And my mantra has always been, I think working is one of the worst ways to make money. You should be working for fulfillment and satisfaction. You should not be working to make money. And when I work with dentists, and this is one of the things that I talk about over and over again, is, listen, there's infinite numbers of ways that you can increase your income, but you have to be smart about it. And you have to think about these things. And I was going back through the last year, and what did I do right? What did I do wrong? I'm very entrepreneurial, so I get bored very easily. And I was reading through this Millionaire Booklet, and Grant said something that immediately resonated with me. He said, when you're starting, your wealth accumulation. You're starting to create wealth for yourself. You want to become rich in whatever capacity that is, whether it's in your health, your wealth, or your relationships. You want to be rich. He said the first thing you have to do is raise your income, because your income is going to provide you opportunities to do things later. Now, that was in complete contradiction to a lot of things that I've read in a lot of other wealth management books, which was, you want to start creating passive sources of income. And he said the problem with that is if your income, your active income right now isn't where it's supposed to be, it's going to be very difficult for you to raise enough money to then be able to invest into passive resources that are going to be able to give you a return. Now, I was always brought up, okay, I've read all these wealth management books, and it's like save 10%, you put a little bit away, don't even think about it, don't buy your lattes anymore. And Grant's book was saying that's complete BS. Like if you saved $4 a day as a dentist and not buy your latte, at the end of 30 years, yes, you'll have more wealth than if you didn't do that, but you'll also probably be unhappy because you're not drinking the lattes, you're not doing things on a daily basis to make you happy, and you're really not going to create substantial wealth by saving $4 a day. He said, you won't be rich, you'll just be old. And I was thinking to myself, that's really true. But this is why I wanted to have this podcast episode. He said something after that I think is so important. You're going to have a vision of where you want to go. And if you want to create more wealth and I've pretty much maxed out in dentistry, I can only practice 3 to 4 days a week. What do I do with my money, or how do I start to create other income sources, other revenue sources, so that I can fast track myself to financial freedom so I can choose how much or how little dentistry I actually want to do? He said the biggest mistake that most people make, poor people want to replace their income. Rich people want to supplement their income. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, that is so true. I mean, I know when I was at a period, this is a couple of years ago in my practice, but I was pretty burnt out, and I was looking to replace my income. I was looking at ways to not have to do dentistry anymore. And he said that's one of the biggest mistakes that most people make is they move from one job to the next, and the first job might be great, but eventually that job levels out, or they don't have the income they thought they were going to make, and all of a sudden now they have to go back to that first job, and it's actually a worse position it was before they started. And that is so true for most people. Let's say that you're doing dentistry, and ultimately you want to start to create some additional sources of income. But you might be burnt out, and you say, I'm quitting dentistry, I'm selling my practice, I'm moving on, I'm doing whatever. And things are great for like the first month. But then this amazing thing happens. And I had this happen in my coaching business. The first 6 months I was in my coaching business, not now, but in the first 6 months, this is literally what happened. I stopped practicing as much. I started to spend more time doing coaching, and things were great for 6 months because I had a really warm prospect list. So people knew me, they knew what I was doing. Okay, well, I don't necessarily know about the coaching thing that you're doing, but because I know you, because I'm comfortable with you, great, let's do it. And they loved it. And they would tell people about it. But eventually what happens is your whole pool dries up. And now you're thinking legitimately about, how do I get more new clients? How do I start to increase this coaching business? And there's going to be a dip there. And because you're not relying on your dental income anymore, all of a sudden you run out of cash to continue to promote and grow this second business that you created. And so for those of you who are listening, for some, this might not mean anything, but for those that are listening to it, you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about, because you probably have done this before. So the key is, when you are starting a new venture, do not cut off your cash flow. Don't do it. It's like a sin to do that, because when your cash flow stops, it's almost impossible for you to create enough momentum to continue to grow your business. And so even if you took out loans, if you took out credit card debt, I'm not averse to that, right? Some people are completely averse to it. I'm not averse to it. If I know it's going to increase, that's another thing that Grant Cardone talks about. If I know it's going to increase my income, I will take debt out on that thing. If it's a coaching program, I'll take debt out. I'll pay it on a credit card even if I don't have the money, because I know if it can increase my income, it's worthy debt of me, right? Because that income is an asset. But the reality is some of these things don't, or you get so locked in that you can't grow at the rate you want to grow because that first income source is not there. So as much as you want to push out, if you want something more than dentistry, you want to have a vision of where you want to go, but you also have to be, and I don't like saying this because it seems kind of, puts you back in a box, but you got to be somewhat smart about it. That first business is going to supplement the second business. Get the second business so strong that it can supplement a third business. And when that second and third business are growing and you're really living the life you want to live, then you can go back to that first business and say, do I need this anymore? Right? You got to be very careful about cutting off income sources, because those income sources are going to fuel you to create the life and the freedom that you want. And so, if you're looking at, I want to create my own program, I want to do my own podcast, I want to do some of the things that I've seen, I don't want to be sitting in my dental practice all day long doing this till I'm 65 years old. Go do it. I implore you to go do it. You probably have a message and a voice that I don't have, a lot of people in dentistry don't have. You need to go out and do that thing, but you need to be, you have to think of yourself as a business. And the number one thing in a business is cash flow and profit. It's the lifeline of anything you do. So be very, very careful to immediately cut off any income source that you have right now, no matter how big, how small, how much you have to work for it, how little you have to work for it. Think about where you want to be from a passive income standpoint, but don't poo-poo those income sources you have right now. They will fuel your growth. Don't do what I did, which is cut some of them off way too soon in order to pursue passions and then have to kind of backtrack and start all over again. I'm just speaking from experience here. That happened to me. So I don't want you guys to go through that same thing. I would highly encourage you guys to go check out some of Grant's stuff. He's a very polarizing guy, but his Millionaire Booklet is absolutely phenomenal. It's a short read. It's about an hour and 20 minutes for him to actually read the book. You can get it on Audible. You can speed it up a little bit. I listen to it every day for 2 weeks, actually. And that's how I learn. I just repetition, really thinking about what is he saying? Why is he saying it? How is this different than what I'm learning? And I want you to do the same thing, especially if you have that thing that you want to be pursuing. Go start to pursue it, but don't cut off cash in order to do it. So hopefully you have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. Hope you got some value out of this. As always, go to dentalpracticefreedomradio.com. You can get your free case acceptance master pack. And as I told you on the last episode, basically we are, my partner Dan O'Rourke and I are creating a technical training program to help you do more full mouth dentistry, which is what most dentists want to do, and also how to put the structure in place to do that effectively, to create more freedom for yourself. So I'm really, really excited about that. So many fun projects that I'm working on right now. They're all kind of coming together. It's amazing to watch. It's amazing to see. And I couldn't do that now if I didn't go back into my practice more, which is kind of an oxymoron. But going back into my practice has freed me now up from a financial standpoint to really, really, really pursue those things that I want to be doing. So hopefully you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode on Dental Practice Freedom Radio with Dr. Steve Schlitz. We'll see you on the next episode.